Peace, familia. Peace be unto you. Ariana Ali. Kingdom Unfiltered, back in full effect with these superior facts. I think this is my 5th video or subject matter on YouTube. 5 is my favorite number. But I won't bother you with trivialization. I want to go ahead and delve into it. 2 things real quick before I get started. I've been getting a decent amount of feedback so far. You know, we still early, up and coming, growing. But I appreciate all the feedback, all the recognition that I've been receiving thus far. It is greatly appreciated, you know, in mountainous amounts. It is greatly appreciated. And in getting the feedback, I was told that in getting this feedback, excuse me, sorry about that, that different people were saying different things. Some people were saying that they prefer the music in the background as I'm talking. Some people were saying it kind of distracted or took away from the message. So I got a couple up there with background music and a couple up there that's, you know, just a cappella, and it's just, you know, my audio, my vocals, and the essence of my message coming forth in the video. So we're going to take that approach today. Just let me know what your preference is, you know, if you think it's certain subjects, it's a time and a place, or if you think I should just do it one way. Your opinion, again, is greatly appreciated. Yeah, I think that's it. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. Now, I mentioned on one of my prior or previous videos that I have about an hour to record, and then I have to upload a part 2. So I'm going to try to condense it and keep it well under an hour today. We're going to try to just get to it and get through it. So let's see if we got the discipline to do it. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. Today's subject is to build a nation versus assimilation. To build a nation versus assimilation. Right? Assimilation, as we know, basically means to become a part of or to acquiesce to. You're not really trying to cause much uproar or any waves. You know, you just basically trying to get in where you fit in and go with the flow. And that's been the majority of our experience in Black America, assimilation. Then there's those of us that we're into nation building. We want to build our own nation and govern our own sovereign state and territory. You know, whether that means our own place in the country where it's just ours, it's carved out for us, or whether we have our own sub-communities or, you know, different divisions throughout different cities and counties and states and, you know, whatnot, regions, coasts, etc. So I'm going to go ahead and get into it. Again, I got some bullet points. Let's get to it and get through it, inshallah. So I'm going to start with those of us who are nation builders. Those of us who consider ourselves nation builders. Now, that would be myself. As I said, I'm not into assimilation. I subscribe to the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad under the perfect tutelage and example of the most honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So, as we know, if we study with the nation or if we're familiar at all with the doctrine, and what thus saith the Lord, because this is what Allah gave us in person for us to become gods incarnate, a reflection of the divine, the all in all. We know that we need to pool our resources first and foremost. Those of us that are nation builders, those of us who don't want to assimilate, we've chosen to accept our own and be ourselves. We've chosen the shallow, rocky road. We chose the long way. We know there are no shortcuts. None of us are an island of ourselves. None of us live alone. We depend on each other. We're social beings by nature. And all facets or groups, demographics, races, ethnicities, whatever, nationalities, what have you, they all understand the science and the art of coming together, pooling your resources, and working in a collective manner. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad instructed us in Black America, I'm paraphrasing, but he said, study the operations of the white man. He makes no excuses for his failures. He works together, or they, in a collective manner, to bring about the results that they want to see. You all do the same. This is the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad speaking. Now, if they're able to use our doctrine, our ideologies, our ancient principles from the earliest of civilizations, right? And they're able to use it for wickedness' sake, then can't we use the same methodologies that were originally ours anyway? For righteousness' sake, it was ours to begin with in the first place. So why can't we tap into our true nature, and what they've used for wickedness, we can thus use for righteousness' sake? Our goal is to be right for righteousness' sake and great for goodness' sake. Right for righteousness' sake and great for goodness' sake. So those of us with the nation builder mentality, this is what we strive to do. You know, we want to pool our resources in a collective manner. That's what we need to be found doing. So support black business. This is Black History Month, but every day your life should be dedicated to the past, present, and the future of black freedom and the full truth of what we're up against. What we've come through, where we are, and where we are yet still headed to go. So, again, I'm trying to run through this. I want to wrap it up in well under an hour, inshallah, be it the will of Allah. It's no secret we built this country, our ancestors. It's no secret that America owes us reparations. This is the first time, from what I've seen in history, definitely recent history, but I would say all of American history, our sojourn and our plight in black America, this is the first time reparations has been such a mainstream talking point. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember. I mean, we all know that they promised us 40 acres and a mule and reneged on that. We all know that they owe us reparations. We know that there has been mention and the term has been used, but it's been taboo. It hasn't been something that has been really acknowledged as serious or noteworthy. Now, reparations is the order of the day. They talk about it on CNN, MSNBC, C-SPAN, Fox, of course, social media. Reparations. We've never heard this much talk of reparations, so we demand. No. Better yet, we don't demand, we command. I don't demand it, I command it, god damn it. Our reparations, yeah, are fair shake. At the very least, they can level the playing field. For all of you that are into assimilation, why are you not arguing that the wealth gap be closed and, you know, we can really have access to capital and really have the opportunity to gain true revenue? I mean, in a real way, in a very real way. Because the art of taking pig intestines and making soul food is played out. The art of taking lemons and making lemonade is played out. We haven't even been using the whole lemon. We've been using like the skin off of the lemon, you know, the peel. We haven't even been making lemonades out of lemons. We've been using lemon peels. You know, the reality of being a poor righteous teacher is played out. It's time to get rich, and I'm not talking about hood rich. And then from there, true wealth, generational wealth, exponential wealth, you know, that your great grandchildren, because that's what the dominant society has been doing. Their children, as much as they, you know, want to separate from their ancestors, they don't want to separate from the privilege and the wealth that the blood, sweat, and tears of my ancestors has thus given them access to. So it's very important that we command reparations and stand on that. And if we're not talking about that, there's really nothing to talk about, because I'm not talking about voting and all of this mundane crap. I'm not into that. We want to produce results. Results. You know, and the only way we can do that is by putting our best foot forward, making sure we're all on the same page and being in alignment with Almighty God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Moving on, because I don't want to be here too long. We need to establish ourselves throughout the motherland. Now, I'm still speaking on behalf of us nation builders. We need to establish ourselves throughout the motherland, throughout the mother continent, which is known today as we know as Africa. But black people didn't name it Africa. We need to establish ourselves in different countries and nations in the motherland. Whether we trace our ancestry back or whether we find the black nations that are, anti-colonizer, whatever means we need to do, we need to become mercenaries and ambassadors for true blackness and sovereignty everywhere. For black excellence everywhere. The black elitists, and I'm not talking about because you have the most money out of us. I mean, those of us who are the sharpest mentally, the brightest. We have the best content of character, as I spoke about in the last video, the men and women of consequence. We need to establish ourselves in the motherland, and tap into our allies. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, again I'm paraphrasing, that he made friends and allies for us in all walks of life, because that's what the truth does. The unadulterated truth is a universal language, quite possibly the strongest universal language. So we need to establish ourselves in America and abroad, not just in the motherland, but anywhere where they are promoting black sovereignty, and they're extending a platform where we can at least begin to build. Because if we had an ally back home in the motherland or in different indigenous land masses and territories, the treatment that we're under as black people in America wouldn't be as harsh and brutal. It wouldn't be so unforgiving if America knew, if this government knew that, them people from Africa or the Middle East or wherever, they'll come and, they'll come for blood. They'll come for pounds of flesh if we mishandle the descendants of slaves, the descendants of kings and queens, the builders of the pyramids and the White House. If we mishandle them, we're going to have to deal with a foreign entity that's going to be an open threat. So that's very important. And again, I'm running through this. I could expound much deeper, but we're going to get to it and get through it. We must accept our own and be ourselves, family. We know this. There's no sense in trying to get a job. Now, if you have a job or if you need one temporarily, that's one thing. But to just, try to find this pie in the sky, it doesn't exist here. There are no real jobs. Can we be honest? Everything is changing. This pandemic era that we're in is changing everything. And when I say everything, we literally mean everything, family. In the Quran, Allah says, "Behold, I make all things new." All things mean all things, not some things, not most things, not just a few things, but the things that's near and dear to you can stay the same. All things. We make all things new. So we do, the only thing we haven't done, excuse me, is come together. We know this. We've tried everything from voting to protesting to everything. Why don't we try lobbying? The black people that do have more access to capital, whether they're entertainers, whether they're preachers, politicians, we need to start lobbying. We all made all of this noise. I'm saying the collective because I didn't have a horse in this race. But when Trump and Biden were running, a lot of our people were pro-Biden. Okay, he's in there now. He's already showing gross signs that he doesn't care about me or you. That man's 78 years old. He's probably not about to fake it for you. I mean, can we just be honest? When you get to a certain age, you're not, politician or not, it is what it is. Because as soon as they recorded his audio behind closed doors, he said in the political language that we weren't the top priority. He wasn't going to carve out any policies just for us. So since then, we've heard that he's going to sit down with our brother, Ice Cube, who is a staple in the community, in this game, and in black culture as a whole. Inshallah, be it the will of Allah, something positive comes of that. But if it doesn't, which we shouldn't expect it to, because we shouldn't expect anything godly from these devils. Can we just be honest? So if nothing happens, then what? What are you all prepared to do? Because, you know, you all were on our backs about we need to vote for Biden. Okay, he's in there now. So if he doesn't do anything for us, are we going to fight to impeach him like we were fighting to impeach Trump? Or are you going to keep turning the other cheeks? Man, my cheeks are raw. It's time for them to start turning some cheeks. Or keep your hands to yourself. I mean, what? Because at some point, the alpha energy is going to step forward at the forefront if we're not already. We really are now. But we're being merciful with our loved ones because a lot of our people want to assimilate. But we can't do this forever, Famino. You know this. What are we really prepared to do? What are we really prepared to do? We need to start by coming together on a common idea. Do you want to assimilate and stay here? Or do you want to build a nation of our own? This happens every day. Only when it comes to us do we have all of this doubt. But if we were our own sovereign nation, with the 3 trillion that we already have roughly, we will be the 8th or the 9th richest country in the world. So it can be done. It's just about, do we have the willpower and the faith and the confidence to see it through into the very end? That's the question, really. Are you a rider for real? I mean, that's what it comes down to for your people. Or is it just all about you getting in where you fit in amongst these vultures? We tired of that. And I don't fear, like Jay-Z said, show them how to move in a room full of vultures. That line was dope 20 years ago. It still is today. But I don't fear moving in a room full of vultures because I'm alive. See, I'm not amongst the walking dead. If I was dead, then these vultures would be picking in my flesh. I'm alive. I'm the eagle. I don't fear these vultures. And it's time that we tap into our true God nature. It's time. It's been time. And it's the only thing we haven't tried. So moving along, this is a discussion that Black America must have. It is imperative. It is imperative because if you want to assimilate, assimilate. But I'm going to say this before we move on and begin to wrap this up. You know, you all have been playing this spook that sat by the door game for a very long time, longer than I've been alive. Famino, can we be honest? We must tell the truth and shame the devil, you know. Y'all been playing the spook that sat by the door for decades. Since we were emancipated, really. Where has that gotten you and us? The gatekeepers, I mean, are y'all letting the right people through the gate? Or are y'all letting the token Negroes in that aren't going to cause too much trouble? Don't stirs up too much troubles on this plantation now. Are those the Negroes you letting through the gate? Spooky brother that's sitting by the door? Spooky sister that's sitting by the door? With the keys? You got the keys, right? Who you letting through the door? Why are all these people that you letting through the door have the same rhetoric, the same energy? Why y'all not letting the Huey Newtons and Khalid Muhammad's and Malcolm X's through the door? The Ariana Ali's through the door. The Bashir Joneses through the door. Shout out to Bashir Jones and Assalamu Alaikum. That's a local councilman. But he knows what I'm saying is true. I done made salat with that brother. I done prayed with him and his family. We done broke bread together. You know? But at some point we gotta have a discussion, beloved, of, is this assimilation thing working? I mean, Martin said over 50 years ago before they killed him, and they didn't kill him for being a dreamer. They killed him for wanting to build a nation. Because at the end of his life, that was the language in his mouth. You know, he said he feared that he was integrating his people into a burning house. Why are you trying to assimilate with something that we could clearly see is failing? It's in its final stages. Every nation comes and goes. You think the United Snakes of America is just going to be the exception to the rule? And they just going to outlive and outlast all other nations? You think they that much better than Egypt? Egypt, quote unquote, because we know it's really Kemet, right? They that much better than Rome, the Roman Empire, really? No, they're just the new Egypt. They're just the new Rome. And countries like Iran represent what Persia represented to the Roman Empire. That's another discussion for another day. But we as Black America must have this discussion. We must really break down to a science the Black experience. Where we've been, where we are, where we're going, and what's the united front? What is the mission statement? Are we just trying to find a better way to survive in America? Or do we want to rule? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with you if you're scared to rule? Now, I just spoke on behalf of us nation builders. Now we're going to get into the flip side of the coin, if we may. Those of you who assimilate, why are you afraid of sovereignty? Have you ever asked yourself that? Have you ever asked yourself why you're more interested in voting than actually holding office? Have you ever asked yourself what makes the white people's taste better, or the white supremacists? What makes their taste better? What makes their ice colder? What makes their neighborhoods better? I mean, have you ever asked yourself why it is that you would prefer for your enemy to teach your children? So they're poisoning your babies in school and treating you like a slave at work. And then you and your children come home from both plantations and you wonder why it's a disconnect. See, this is basic common sense. Many of our scholars and those of us with just basic common sense now have said you would never see Jewish men and women sending their babies to Nazi Germany to be educated. So what is wrong with the so-called American Negro? Because even in this pandemic era, a lot of you are homeschooling, but it's just virtual school. It's the same curriculum. They still have the same control over your baby's brain. You do know that you can homeschool your child and establish your own curriculum. Oh, but that takes too much work and dedication. All you got to do is manage it. You don't have to do it the way that they say it has to be done every day and every week by that set standard of hours. As long as your child is retaining the information and being able to access the knowledge and exercise their better judgment based on what you're teaching them, because you are to be their first teacher. But you don't want to run the country. You want to vote for the next man to handle your business. This is weird. This is weird. The whole assimilation thing is weird. I mean, what type of man or woman in nature doesn't want to rule? Who wants to be ruled? You have to give consent to your government for them to even handle you or mishandle you. You have to give consent. Unless you've raped somebody or murdered somebody or stolen mercilessly and with great malice, unless you've really done something malicious, right? You have to give consent for them to judge you, for them to govern you. We could go all into sovereignty and the black codes and the black laws and what's the difference between the law and the statutes, and we could go on. I mean, come on, man. If you don't know this stuff at this particular point, you are sketchy. Like, it's one thing to not know and be ignorant, but at some point, you are just suspicious. Because some of you do know, you just don't want to be held accountable for what you've learned. Because you know what you've learned, the information that you've come across requires you to do something. It demands your responsibility. It commands you to respond to your abilities, your God-given abilities. And a lot of us just want to be ruled. That's too much work. That's too much thinking. The white supremacists told you in school, we only use 10% of our brain, you know. And you thought that meant you could be dumb your whole life. Because they told you we only use 10% of our brain. What they didn't tell you is the human being has the capacity to use the full 7 ounces of our brain. Come on, family. Like, what are we? So again, I asked the question, and it's rhetorical for me because this isn't my reality, nor is it my plight. And I feel like I know the answer, but just for inquiring minds and for the sake of conversation, why are you so afraid of sovereignty? Why are you so afraid to build your own nation? Why? Because as I said, this spook that's sat by the door theory is failing grossly. And at this point, you gatekeepers, so-called, y'all letting people into a house that's under foreclosure. It's under foreclosure. The utilities getting cut off. It's mold in the walls. It's roaches and rats, excuse me, and a bunch of ratchets. Yeah. This is what we assimilated into. It's crumbling. London Bridge is falling. I mean, come on, yo. Come on, baby. You see this. Your 2 eyes, 3 eyes, if you're not calcified and you're pineal, work just like mine work. What is wrong with you? Accept your own and be yourself, please and thank you. I'm going to keep it moving because I ain't come to preach. I just want to tell the truth and shame the devil, as I said, and provoke thought. Because we can be our own sovereign nation, family. And whether you like it or not, we will be. Either you're going to be prepared for it, and when America falls, completely plummets, it's going to be a blessing when it falls in your lap, or it's going to be a burden when it falls on your scalp because you weren't ready. You wasn't ready. Yeah, that's you. You better get prepared. Huh? Yeah, that's you. You might want to put some thought equity into that. Some brain power energy, into getting ready to build your nation. Because that's what it's come to. Yeah. So moving along. For those of us who are religious, I really question your whole judgment, your sanity, your intellectual prowess. I mean, I'm looking at you out the corner of my eye, family, because you're religious. That means you subscribe to the Bible and or Quran, the Torah, right? If you are of the one of the Abrahamic faiths. But even if you predate that in your practice and your rituals or spiritual engagement and expression, we were prophesied to make a black exodus. We're living in that time. Yeah. The Bible is prophecy more so than history. Again, according to the teachers that we subscribe to in the nation, which is the last man standing, by the way, for Black America. Stop playing with yourself. The Nation of Islam is Noah's Ark, period. I don't care what you're talking about. I don't care what your boss said. I don't care what your mammy and your granny said. I don't care what your coon, cotton picking, wannabe snuff chewing, Confederate flag wearing daddy and grandpappy. I gives a damn. I don't care. The Nation of Islam is all we have. It's all we've ever had. And it's definitely all we have left. Anything else is an offset or complementary of the supreme wisdom. Yeah, the supreme wisdom. So, with that being said, it was prophesied that, we would build the golden streets and the land of milk and honey. And, we would go into the promised land. And, those of us that were scared and fear-based, we were going to wander out in the wilderness and die, and our children would inherit and inhabit the promised land. I mean, you grew up in church all your life, right? You've been reading Al-Kitab, or the book, the Holy Quran, all your life, right? How you missed that part? Or you just thought that part was make-believe? You thought God meant everything he said in the prophecy in the scripture until it got to the part where you were supposed to be God yourself. See, that part you can't get with. You look at me crazy because I say I'm a God and I want to tap into my godhood. But you don't look at David the psalmist crazy who said, ye are all gods, children of the Most High God. But you got a problem with me, but you don't got a problem with David. You're weird. And I don't think you really believe in what you say you believe in. Because if you believed in Christianity, Islam, Judaism, etc., all that and then some, you would be all about nation building. You would be excited and gung-ho. Because you know it's prophecy. You would want to be written on the right side of history. You want to go to heaven, right? Well, heaven is to be established on earth as it is in heaven. But on earth comes first in the scriptures, if you have read it or heard it before. So to me, and when I speak like this, I'm speaking like this because I feel like this is common sense at this point. This is common sense. If somebody been abusing you for the past 15 years, you think on year 16 they're going to stop and have a change of heart and treat you better than anybody's ever treated you before? When they've been your greatest enemy and oppressor, covert and overt? What the hell is wrong with you? I mean, I just want to know. For those of you that want to assimilate, are you mentally challenged to be, I'm trying to be nice about it. I'm not, what do they say, facetious? I'm not trying to be facetious. I just want to know. Are you slow, buddy? Because y'all are trying to make abuse or being abused cool. Y'all trying to find the best way to smile through suppression and oppression. We are on the bark of something that is bigger than the Great Depression. And in our personal lives, we battling with depression and anxiety. And you gonna keep lying to yourself and lying amongst your peers and thus lying to your children? We gonna get to these children in a minute. I'm wrapping up. Again, we were prophesied to enter into and receive the promised land. Nature requires evolution, and history repeats itself. Nature requires evolution. That means it's always growing. It's always changing. It's always expanding. It's not standing still. It's evolving by Allah's permission. Yeah. Assistance and divine intervention. Yeah. This is actual factuals. Superior facts. Now, if we live in this universe or multiverse, the universe, right? We exist here on this third rock from the sun that we affectionately call planet Earth. The Earth is evolving. The Earth is striking back because of all this pollution. What you think global warming is about? Huh? And all of these other interesting developments in nature. Snow, rain, hail, snow, and earthquakes. These were the weapons that were prophesied to be used in the day of judgment on the day of battle. God told you believe in God, right? Some of you. Those of you that don't, that's your business because religion is faulty anyway. The secret is God and the devil lives inside of all of us. That's the secret. It ain't no big man in the sky and it ain't no ghouls and goblins under the ground. It's you and me. God and the devil. Yeah. Yeah. Your religion is supposed to get you better acquainted and acclimated with that so that you can be a better expression and example of God incarnate. That's what it's about. Yeah. So, if everything is evolving and expanding around us, you think we're the exception to the rule? What is wrong with these human beings that we think we're exempt? You look at nature. Animals know their role. They play their position. The trees live to be 1,000 years. Turtles live upwards of 400 years. You know why? Because they don't rebel against nature and universal law. A dog is a dog is a dog. It's going to be that. It's not trying to be a cat. It's not. If it were, its lifespan would be shorter because it's going against nature. Again, this is common sense, you would think, but then when it comes to the human being, most specifically my people, brothers and sisters, black men and women here in North America, What is wrong with us? Us, collective. I'm going to put myself in there with you. What's wrong with us? That we don't want to pick up and be the best version of ourselves. That oppression has gotten good to us. Because all of you talk about assimilation. That's purely what it is. You have Stockholm syndrome. Yeah, you have Stockholm syndrome. If you want to assimilate. Because there's no way. Would you tell your daughter to stay with an abusive man? No. You would tell her to get the hell out of there. If you had to run up in there and save her from him. But you will let your babies be destroyed by white supremacy and their ideologies. They took black magic, turned it into white sorcery, and then told me and you to stay away from it. Meanwhile, they're ruling the world with our magic. This is facts. Then they put it in their shows, their movies, mocking us right in our faces, hidden in plain sight. They know that the black man and woman is God. What the hell is wrong with your three eyes, brother, sister? What's wrong with you and me and us that we can't get it together in the name of Allah? I said I'm going to be here less than an hour and I'm keeping my word. So we're going to begin to wrap this up. But I just want to be clear about it. You know, trillionaires and billionaires say millionaires consult with accountants. Billionaires and trillionaires consult with astrologers, astronomers. Have you ever asked yourself why election year is always on leap year? Have you ever wondered that? I mean, I just like to ask questions. Every 4 years, this is going to be the greatest election, the biggest decision of your life. Every 4 years. It's the biggest decision of my life every 4 years. So what about in between them 4 years? There's nothing critical or pivotal. The most important decision that you can make is who you want to vote for to sit in the White House. Your life means nothing then if you let them make you think that, if you believe that. Your life means nothing. The election is the most important decision of your life? No wonder we stuck. Yeah, it's foolishness at its finest. And it's time to dead all of this, flatline. It's time to pull the plug on it, beloved. It just is. So, let's tap into nature. Let's tap into dark matter, cosmic energy, universal law. Thus saith the Lord. Whatever flavor or spin you want to put on it, let's tap in. Because we can't all assimilate. It's not even going to work. Even their people are going to be sacrificed. The white supremacists are sacrificing certain individuals with white privilege because all of them can't go either. So you think that they're going to make a special seat at the table for you and me and our children? They're not. Moving on. I said I was going to get to the children, so we're going to get to it and wrap it up. Our children are watching us. The same way you had a problem with your parents and you feel like they lay dormant and were docile and, didn't go hard enough. It's the same way that your children look at you. So now you are a parent or a grandparent, maybe a great-grandparent. I don't know if y'all heard that. I had to crack my neck one time. But you are in a parental position now. Custodial authority. Don't disappoint your babies by going along with the oppressor because they're going to get grown. And either they're going to be enraged with you because you didn't give them the fullness of the truth. Or they're going to be depressed because why would my parents lie to me? Why would they mislead me? Why would they tell me just go to school and go to work and say your prayers and eat your vitamins and drink your milk? And everything's going to be okay. And just put on your seatbelt and, don't disturb police and white people. And come on, man. That's weak. It's weak. It's weak. And it flies in front of the face of reality and Godhood. The liberation generation is not going along with you if you haven't noticed. There are going to be chains broken from their brains. Shackles that are not attached to their spirit and soul that afflicted you and I. Are you going to poison them for the enemy? Minister Farrakhan said the black woman's tongue can be the new bullwhip. In other words, the white man don't have to whoop us no more. Your woman will talk you out of your dream. Your woman could talk you out of the fullness of your freedom and really being God incarnate.